Welcome to the Debrief. I'm Diane Macedo. Our top stories this morning: that caravan of migrants from Central America heading toward the U.S. We'll take a look at the humanitarian crisis and the political fallout. We're also getting a look at some reported video showing an apparent body double of assassinated Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, what the Saudis are now saying about his death, and what President Trump is saying about both those stories and more. That's coming up right after our headlines.
Four Americans are among the dead after a rafting accident in Costa Rica. 3 rafts carrying more than a dozen people flipped over while going down a river raging after recent rains.
A week after a Wisconsin teen disappeared, police now say they followed up on more than 1,000 tips. 13-year-old Jamie Kloss vanished after her parents were found shot to death.
One of Taiwan's fastest passenger trains derailed yesterday, killing at least 18 people and injuring 170 others. The train was carrying more than 360 passengers when it went off the tracks on a curve shortly before 5 p.m. There was no immediate word on the cause of the accident.
Former NFL wide receiver Ray Caruth has been released from prison this morning after serving 18 years for conspiring to kill the mother of his unborn children. Sharika Adams died after being shot. Their child survived but suffered brain damage.
Uber may have its eyes on the skies. A job posting by the ride-sharing company indicates Uber wants to put food delivery drones in the air in just about 3 years. Uber has been looking for ways to expand, including investing in flying taxis and rental scooters. And Canada's running out of pot. Days after recreational marijuana was legalized across the country, owners of Canadian pot shops now say they're running low.
We begin today with that growing humanitarian crisis, that caravan of migrants coming from Central America toward the United States. It is sparking not only worries about those involved in the travel, but also a fierce political battle here. Just 2 weeks ahead of the midterm elections, Matt Gutman is with that caravan in Mexico. And Matt, what are you seeing?
Hey, Diane, I just want to set the scene for you here in Tapachula, Mexico. We're about 20 miles away from started out yesterday. 30 seconds ago, there were kids here, their families getting ready for their day. You can see that people have slept in the bushes here, and I'm going to turn our camera around. We may get blasted with light, but you can see how many thousands of people are arrayed here, ready for the day. The big question is, do they march? How far do they go? And what do Mexican authorities do about it? So far, we have been told that Mexican federal police, those people that we saw in riot gear yesterday, ready to go with shields and tear gas, have not been given orders. They don't know whether they are to block these people's procession onward or to just let them continue walking as they did yesterday. And yesterday we saw something that had startled me. We saw masses of these riot police arrayed in the road, deployed, ready for battle, drawing a line in the sand. And then as soon as the migrants approached, they retreated. And then they set up again. And then again, the federal police retreated, again, armed with all of these masks and gear and batons and shields. They want to avoid a confrontation with these people because, I mean, look around. I mean, no, they're running away. Their families here. Women, a lot of single women with multiple kids. Everywhere you go, you see strollers, clothes for the day. This is clearly not a caravan full of criminals, though doubtless there are some criminals here, as there would be in any group of 7,000 people or thousands of people. But clearly the Mexican government wants to avoid a confrontation with them. And apparently the organizers of this caravan are telling the migrants, do not board the buses that the Mexican government is offering because they will deport you. So they're actually telling people not to take asylum with the Mexican government. And that's a tough question because I'm not sure how much farther these people can go. We walked, according to my watch yesterday, we were with them for about 10 miles total. They walked 20, and we were completely exhausted. People were collapsing from dehydration. You probably see this video of this young girl who I helped as she collapsed in my arms from what appeared to be heat exhaustion. And there are kids traveling with parents. It is grueling out there. They still have 2,000 miles to go. It's unclear how far they will make it before they either try to take buses or some sort of transportation or just buckle and accept the asylum that the Mexican government is offering them right now. All of these questions hang in the air as President Trump continues to ramp up the intensity of his pressure on the Mexican government to do something. So everything seems to be building to a crescendo here, Diane. And, you know, we hate to say it in the news, but I think we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen here.
Feels a bit like a pressure cooker, Matt. Thanks. And freelance journalist Emily Green is also traveling with the caravan. She joins us by phone now. Emily, what can you tell us about this group of people?
I can tell you that the vast majority come from Honduras, that it wasn't a planned decision to come on this caravan, that they heard about it on the news, heard about it on Facebook, or even saw it passing by and decided to join. They say the conditions are in Honduras are incredibly desperate, much worse under but they've got really worse over the past several years. And as was just reported, a lot of this caravan, I think an astonishing number of children.
It looks like we may have lost Emily on the phone there, but it sounds like quite a journey these people are on and quite a tough decision for the U.S. government. And we are seeing that being debated right now. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Emily, are you still with us?
I am. I'm still with you.
Okay, sorry, you cut out there for a second. Just really quickly, what are these people hoping for, and what exactly are they running from?
They're running from very desperate poverty. There. I talked to a guy yesterday who worked for the government and said he had not been paid in 3 months, and that there was no indication when he was going to be paid. So they're fleeing situations like that. They essentially say they don't have enough food. I talked to one woman who said if they had had as much food in Honduras as she's been given in Guatemala, this was a few days ago, she would have stayed in Honduras. And I just found that incredibly striking. And they're hoping for a better life. I mean, that's basically what they want. They want a life where they can have a roof over their head and they can have a job and be paid just when they're supposed to be paid. And they're not looking for much beyond that.
Yeah, one of the amazing things in these kinds of stories, which we've been hearing from Matt Gutman, actually, is the way these people are actually helping each other. They're in such dire circumstances, exhausted in some cases, minimal food, minimal water, and yet they continue to share resources to help each other out. I want to go back to Matt Gutman, who's with us now. Matt, you posted this incredible video on Instagram, and I know you referred to it a little while ago, of that girl who was passing out from what looked like heat exhaustion. And yet it seems like, you know, from your account, that these people are still just being so generous with each other.
Incredibly generous. And we saw strangers, and we spoke to one of them today, a guy named Brian, who'd been living in the U.S. for 22 of his 27 years, carrying other people's children, strangers' children. And, you know, you can imagine they walked 25 miles yesterday. I just got the official notification from the Mexican Federal Police, 40 kilometers, and there were people helping out strangers. There were also locals, Mexicans, who live along the route, who were handing out water and food to these very hungry people who are literally relying on the largesse and generosity of locals here to sustain them through this trip. And I just want to show you a little bit of what's happening now, Diane. They're organizing today. There are 1,500 more migrants joining this caravan. We just saw a bunch of them arriving a few minutes ago with their backpacks and whatever they could carry ahead of today's journey, which is going to be significantly shorter. Now, the thing everybody is waiting to see is if they're going to march out all together, how far they will go, and of course, what the Mexican Federal Police and immigration officials are going to do about it. We've spoken to several Mexican Federal Police officers. They say their orders right now are just to sort of sit back, let this happen. They do not want any sort of physical confrontation. So a decision has still not been made from on high about what to do with these thousands of people. You can see them clumped in areas of shade. Last night they were trying to take refuge from the rain. Now it's this blistering sun. I'm going to take you for a little bit of a walk here. Just want to show you, forgive my back, just how everybody's kind of resting after yesterday's very, very difficult march. And, you know, what you notice here you know, it's a pretty diverse mix of people, men, women, children. They're lined up across the street. You can see them over there, maybe shooting right into the sun. Folks being given food out here. Hold on. Berna, our amazing Mexican cameraman, is doing an incredible job staying with us. You can see them handing out water. This is free. This is the generosity of locals who simply showed up with a pickup truck full of bottles of water, handing it out to people obviously in some pretty desperate need. They're just grabbing what they can at this point. So again, the question, Diane, is what happens to these people today? Where do they go? And what do the Mexican police do about it?
And Matt, I asked Emily this a little while ago, but we couldn't really hear her answer. So can you just sort of sum up for us what exactly these people are running from? Because I know some of them have told you this may look bad, but it's far worse where we just came from.
The suffering is incredible, and I do hope you can hear me. The suffering that they have left is also horrific. But let me just describe a little bit about what they went through yesterday. 25 miles of walking in incredible heat. People passing out, as you saw, literally into our arms, onto the asphalt. And yet it is not as bad as what they face back at home. And one of the women we spoke to, who was with 3 of her children, Diane, I know you are expecting, can imagine what it's like either to be pregnant or carrying an infant or a young child. She had 3 of them alone, and she was fleeing Honduras, where gangs killed her husband, the father of her children, and she was concerned that they would next go after her and her family. She has to get out. Other people are leaving because of the poverty there. There is no opportunity, no future for them, and so the uncertainty and the danger of the road is somehow more appealing than what they leave behind.
Unimaginable. Well, hopefully they can find a good solution to all of this. Matt Gutman there from Mexico. Matt, we appreciate it. Thanks. And now we want to get to the latest on the assassination of that Washington Post columnist. The Saudi story about what really happened to Jamal Khashoggi seems to be changing yet again. And Molly Hunter is in Istanbul with the latest on that. Molly, what are they saying now?
Hey, Diane, that's right. Seems to be changing. We're changing it kind of every day now. But come with me. I just want to show you we're back at the consulate in Istanbul. There's the door, of course, that we have showed you so frequently since October 2nd. I'm just going to have Bruno show you that door. You see there's still police barricades. And that's the door that we saw Jamal Khashoggi walk in on October 2nd. That's also where Saudi officials first said, Diane, 3 weeks ago that he walked out on his own free will. Now, over the weekend, we received an official statement from the Saudis saying that actually he walked in and there was a fist fight, and that is how he died. Now, a couple days later, we spoke with a Saudi official who told us that actually it wasn't a fist fight, it wasn't a brawl, because that would require kind of, I imagine a fist fight, Diane, is kind of 2 guys going at it. The Saudi official told ABC News just 2 days ago that he walked in, there was a physical altercation of some kind, and then he was put in a chokehold. And Diane, the Saudi official told us that the chokehold is what killed him. And the guy who put him in a chokehold, Diane, this is important, is one of the 18 individuals who is now detained. So that's a pretty long way to go in 3 weeks, but we're still all kind of flabbergasted that it took the Saudis 3 weeks even to come up with that.
It is. And you know, I know the original story was, oh no, he walked out of his own free will. Now, new reports are saying there's some video showing an apparent body double of Jamal Khashoggi walking out just after the killing. What do we know about that?
Diane, so this is a CNN report, and it's on Turkish television as well. So a Turkish official has released to CNN alleged surveillance video that shows a guy who looks like a lot like Jamal Khashoggi walking out of this consulate right behind me, and then going to the Blue Mosque, which is one of the biggest tourist attractions, going to a restaurant, walking along the street, and then finally disposing of his clothes. Now, this is all unconfirmed by ABC News, and this is alleged surveillance video. It is compelling to look at, but we have not confirmed this, Diane. But what's so confusing about this is that why did the Saudis bring over a Jamal Khashoggi lookalike if this was all an accident, as they said? They said it was just a physical altercation. It got out of hand. There was a chokehold. We didn't mean to do it, but they brought over a body double, Diane, and one of those 15 guys that came over. This is not adding up.
Doesn't sound like we've heard the last of this investigation. Molly Hunter from Istanbul, Turkey. Molly, thanks. And now we want to get over to the White House as the Saudi story changes. The president's reaction to it is changing as well. Kevin Travers has more from the White House for us. Karen, the president is starting to sound less confident in the Saudi leadership and their version of events.
Diane, on Friday, after the Saudis released that version of events, the president said it was credible. On Saturday, he spoke to a reporter at the Washington Post, and he said that there's been deception and there's been lies. Just a few moments ago, the president's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner, did an interview with CNN. And Jared Kushner has been a key point between the administration and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. They've established a strong relationship, and he was a driving reason why President Trump went to Riyadh on his first foreign trip last year. Kushner said that the administration is going into this, Diane, with their eyes wide open. And he said right now they're in a fact-finding mission. They want to see all of the information that's coming together from the investigations that are taking place, and then they'll decide on what action to take. But over the weekend, the president certainly wasn't indicating that he was moving forward on any action after that promise last week of severe punishment. The president, again, keying in, Diane, on whether or not the king and the crown prince knew or had any knowledge of what took place in Turkey 20 days ago. He said, nobody has told me he's responsible. He that he's referring to there is the crown prince.
I know congressional leaders are now weighing in on this as well. What do they have to say?
Yeah, almost unanimously agreeing, bipartisan, that there should be something done about this, that there should be a change in diplomatic relations, that there should be diplomats kicked out of the country. There should be sanctions placed on the kingdom. Right now, the administration is not going that far, still saying wait and see, and we'll decide what to do. But, Diane, perhaps Congress could move ahead without the president on this one, especially given the resounding reaction you're hearing from both parties.
Yeah, not often we see agreement in Congress. Karen, I also want to get to the other big issue, that migrant caravan. In addition to being a humanitarian crisis, it's also a political showdown just ahead of the midterm elections. What's the latest from Washington on that?
President Trump was tweeting about it this morning. He was talking about it over the weekend at a campaign rally. And Diane, with 15 days to go before the midterm elections, the president is going to continue talking about this caravan. He is clearly going to use this as a rallying cry for Republican voters to try and rev up his base, get them out to the polls in 2 weeks. He was also pointing the finger today at Democrats, saying if you don't like what's happening with illegal immigration, if you don't like what's happening and what you're seeing with this caravan, blame Democrats. The president also said that he had reached out to the Border Patrol and the military and declared this a national emergency. Last week, he had threatened to send the military to the border. He didn't explicitly say that again, Diane, but the president clearly itching to do something about this. And even if he doesn't do anything, he's certainly going to talk about it a lot over the next 2 weeks.
That is for sure. Karen Travers from the White House. Thanks, Karen. Now we want to get to that urgent manhunt for a cop killer outside of Atlanta. The officer was gunned down responding to a report of a suspicious vehicle. ABC's Steve Osunsami has the latest on that. Steve, I understand there are two suspects. One's in custody, but the other's on the loose. What do we know? We're going to have to go back to Steve in a moment. It seems we've lost a connection. For now, though, let's check in on the royals. They're on their trip to Australia, but Meghan seems to have taken a bit of a break from the spotlight for a day to get some rest. James Longman has the latest from Australia. James?
Hi Diane, I'm on Kingfisher Beach on Fraser Island where, there she is, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has re-figured. She's taken some days, some time off from this tour because she's been feeling, we're told, a bit tired, and that actually parts of this island are so rural, so difficult to get into. We're just on some of these 4x4 buses that take us deep into the rainforest. That 14-week pregnant Meghan is feeling that perhaps that kind of journey probably wouldn't be the best idea. So I think a lot of people here on Fraser Island are a bit disappointed at the idea that they might not be able to see Meghan, but there she is at last at the end of the day. This island, by the way, is absolutely extraordinary. It's just sand. It's the largest sand island in the world, and Harry was here dedicating a plaque to the Queen's Canopy Project, which is an initiative which protects rainforests in different parts of the Commonwealth, and there was an extraordinary scene of Harry with some of the indigenous dancers all having fun for the press. We've been to some of these events where you see a royal opening something or pulling away material in front of a plaque, but rarely do you get to do it in a place like that. Diane?
All right, that's James Longman there from Australia. Poor Harry. He used to show up and be this huge attraction. Now he shows up and people say, hey, where's Meghan? What's going on? Poor Harry. All right, finally a story almost guaranteed to bring a tear to your eye. A little boy with a congenital heart defect had a dream to be a Ghostbuster for a day. Well, now the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the city of Sacramento are making it happen. Kana Whitworth is there for us. Kana, tell us a little bit about this little boy and how this whole thing came together.
Diane, it's incredible to see the work that everybody here has done to make 5-year-old London Green's dream come true, his wish of being a Ghostbuster. It's unbelievable. First, I want to introduce you to his dad, Stuart. I mean, you said that the Goodwill has started with the flight attendants even taking extra care of London.
It's amazing to see how much everybody just comes out and comes together for Make-A-Wish. They've done such a great job. The fire station has opened up their doors. They made my son breakfast. It's amazing. And now they're shutting down Old Sac so he can hunt ghosts. It's great seeing just people come together and take care of a kid that they don't even know. And it's making his day so exciting. And we're thrilled about it.
He takes his ghost busting very seriously.
Yes.
I mean, he has the gear. He was explaining it to me. What is that like for you to see that?
It's funny. He goes through different phases where he likes other stuff, but it always comes back to ghost busting. And he'll come out of the room, wherever room he's in, and, it's time to hunt ghosts, and put on his back and get hunting ghosts at the house or at the park. It's I don't know why he likes it so much, but something about it just grabs him, and he really loves it. So this is great.
I like it too because it's a little old school.
Yeah.
You know, so for him to be 5 years old and love it.
I always call him my 80s kid. He's into 80s movies. He likes Goonies and Karate Kid, and he's an 80s kid. It's funny.
Love that you just dropped a Goonies reference, by the way, one of my favorite all-time movies. And Diane, I want you to share in this because you're expecting and having your baby. It is the most intense, spiritual, amazing experience of your life. So for just 15 hours later, for you to learn that he had this congenital heart defect, what was that like?
Well, we didn't know what was going on. The hospital we were in Modesto, they didn't know what was going on. It was so his heart was twisted and missing parts, and they didn't, even on the echo, they didn't know what was going on in there. So they flew out a helicopter from UCSF, and it was like, we were so scared at that point, but as soon as we got to UCSF, they just made us feel so much more comfortable, because they're like, we got this. We do this all the time. It's not a big deal. We'll figure it out. And they have. UCSF has been amazing. The surgeons and doctors they have there are just great.
And at just 5 years old, he's now had 4 open heart surgeries and complications that have followed. But he left the hospital on January 1st. And hasn't been back yet?
Hasn't been back.
I'm so happy. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. I'm going to walk everybody around and show them some of the proton packs. Is that right? It's a proton pack? Thank you so much. You're wonderful. So come this way.
Let's take a tour.
Breakfast that they made. Diane, I don't know how you feel about these, but these are slime-covered donuts.
I'm pregnant, Kana. I'll eat any kind of donut right now.
I know. Come this way. I want to introduce you to the certified Ghostbusters. What's up?
Hi.
How are you?
Doing very well.
You guys have a really busy day ahead. You see, they've got all this gear. They're going to be hunting ghosts, I know, at least in Old Sacramento. Where else? Do we know? Do we know where they are yet?
Find them. No, that's where the activity is.
That's where the activity is at this point. Okay, these are called the proton packs.
Correct.
That's correct. Okay, what are we doing with the proton packs, guys?
Well, this is what you need first to, hold the ghost down. It emits a field and it holds them down before we can throw our traps out to catch them.
Okay, London showed me how that worked real quickly, and it sort of opens up and then. Okay.
And then after you trap them, you just pop them in the containment unit, flip the switch, and they're no longer your problem.
They're no longer your problem. What is this thing? What is it?
This is part of our psychic test. So what we do is we put the helmet on,
Dan,
and we start measuring some of the readings.
Ooh.
And then you have your card. So the way this goes is, right now, let's say we have a circle, a square, and a star. So you shuffle these up,
he gave you the answers.
Then you close your eyes. You don't look at the card.
Diane, what is it?
Star. Is it a star?
I don't know. Star.
It's a star.
Yep. Okay, so does that mean
I
I'm a
thought
ghost
you
or
were
not a
supposed to
ghost?
guess.
This is your first step. We got to see if you have the psychic ability
Oh,
to
the
be able
psychic
to
ability
to
to be able to
handle
handle
the paranormal.
Okay. I don't know if I have the psychic ability to handle the paranormal or the straining of the raspberries. It was probably done. I don't know. Thank you so much, you
Yeah, no
guys.
problem.
This is so cool. And it looks like maybe are these old ghosts in here?
That one's safe to touch. It's a slime.
Careful.
Oh, it's just a slime.
Yes.
We think. We think.
It looks like
Wow.
such a great
This is
time.
amazing.
It's such
So-
an amazing thing they put together all
I
for this
know.
little boy. Kana, thanks so much for showing us around. We appreciate it.
Yes.
And would you go to eat a
course.
donut on my behalf, please? I really appreciate that.
Yeah, here. Yeah, I'm on my way, Diane. I'm going to be over here.
But-
I'll be eating donuts. I'll eat one for you, okay?
We
You guys
love,
have a good
love,
one.
love Little London. He is clearly a warrior. He ain't afraid of no ghosts, and he has some great taste in movies as well. So we love him for that too. Kana
He
Whitworth
sure does.
from Sacramento. Thanks, Kana. And that does it for us here at the Debrief. Remember, you can get your headlines all day long at abcnews.com or at your ABC News app. For ABC News Live, I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for watching, everyone. Who you gonna call?